Gen Xers, particularly Gen X men, we like things to be high performance, high tech, high frequency, high fidelity, high yield savings, high impact sports, walking on a high wire at high noon under high pressure, carrying highly explosive chemicals. That's Gen X men. Now, millennials and Gen Zs, particularly females, they like things low calorie, low carb, low key, low cost, low maintenance, low rider. They tend to lay low and give us the lowdown. Play a solo on the cello while listening to J-Lo. She won't stand for baloney. Well, speaking of that, why is bologna the only deli meat that gets treated with such disrespect? You know, somebody calls out of work. You're not going to hear somebody saying, well, I'm not buying this must have caught a virus pastrami. You know, he left his wife and said there isn't anyone else. But personally, I think that's a bunch of thinly sliced pimento loaf.
Get the Reuben sandwich out of here.
We called the exterminator to get rid of the spiders, right? Mm-hmm. He comes to the house and he said that they don't spray for spiders because they spray for the bugs that the spiders eat. Then those bugs die and the spiders leave willingly. And I just remember thinking, what is this, like a fucking grocery store under different management? Like there's going to be two spiders and they're having a meeting in the house. And one says to the other, you know, I just don't feel like there's this selection here that they used to have. So about 10, 11 years old, we went through a Estes model rocket stage, right? I think for scouts, we had to build a model rocket and we became intrigued with it, right? So first we would put the model rockets together properly, paint them, put the decals on, fire them off, and they'd get lost. So it took us, we quickly realized that we really didn't need to do all that. The little engines were really what mattered. So then we started just gluing fins to the engines and shooting them off. And then if we couldn't find it, we couldn't find it, right? Then we decided that we could go even further with the model rocket engines. So basically, we started like kind of cutting them open. And as long as you stuck the wire in there and you backed off, connected it to the lantern battery, it would, right? So we started burying them in the ground to watch the dirt blow up. And then we got to the point where...
Tired Toy Story.
Yeah.
Up toys.
Yeah. Then we would dig a hole, fill it with plastic army men, put the model rocket engine in there, and the wire, cover everything up, and then we would dig and we'd find the melted army man and be like, ooh, ah. In my early 20s, we had a secret Santa exchange, and it was a lot of young people there, and we all knew each other pretty well, a lot of joking around. And of course, I was always the comedian. I was thinking about the Coyote and the Roadrunner when it came time to do your 3 gift suggestions for Secret Santa. So I thought it'd be funny. I wrote 1 Acme snowmaking machine, 2 a bat cape, and 3 a large rubber fish, right? And I put that into the hat, right? So I thought for sure one of the girls I was dating or whatever would see it, or would get it and have a chuckle. No. The part-time Hispanic secretary ended up getting my name. She had no idea that I was joking. And when it came time to exchange, she gave me a toy Snoopy snow cone machine. And she apologized. She said, I'm sorry, Mark, they did not have Acme. So I learned to stop being an ass at work after that. There's a sort of dark art involved in dishing out compliments that are actually insults. So I gave this a lot of thought this week. All right. And Stace and I came up with some really good ones. So here you go. So the first grouping of left-handed compliments, we're going to call that the limiter. Okay. The way the limiter works is the first half of the sentence is nice, but they can't leave well enough alone. They have to put the limiter, the tack on at the end. For example, Mark, your presentation was really interesting. I mean, considering how dry the subject matter was. See that jab? You relax and they get you in the second half. I really like your car, Mark. It's just so cute and sporty. Well, I mean, for a Nissan.
Well, I had a boss call my Fiat a roller skate.
It did look like a roller skate. It really did. I think that was pretty good, actually. So, I mean, it even like kind of tapered at the top where you could put a foot in. Yeah. Yeah. That is a good one. I mean, I must say, you're one of the funniest people I've met. Well, in this department anyway.
Right, which has 2 people in it.
Yeah. The next one's you.
You really look great for having 3 children. Are they all by the same man?
That's so
This was actually spoken to me.
That is so fucking rude.
By someone I was waiting on.
So you get the idea. So there's the limiter. Yeah. Now we're going to move on to the next grouping, which is the pointed question technique. Sounds caring, but it's actually insulting. So here's an example. They're at a dinner party or something. Wow, you've definitely lost some weight, Mark. Is everything okay health-wise? So sort of, not that you're working out, implying that you have cancer, basically. So you do the next one.
Oh, so you don't want to drink? Is there some kind of problem we should be aware of?
I was actually asked.
Yeah.
Bizarre. Anyway, are we ready for the big four?
We are ready for the big four.
All right.
We have digressed enough.
We have digressed. All right. So who is we'll start with who is the anthrax of breakfast cereal mascots? I'll let you just.
All right. I think I'm going to go from Lucky from Lucky Charms.
Oh, okay. So you put Lucky on anthrax level. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I always thought he was a little annoying too, but he always had to describe all his marshmallow flavors. Which is really just
they were
different
probably
color.
I think that might have been my favorite cereal though growing up was Lucky Charms because
Really?
there's marshmallows. They came out with an all marshmallow version. Again, it's like the double stuff. Yeah.
But he always did the little frosted Lucky Charms are magically delicious, and of course there were rainbows and dancing.
I remember being 12 years old and going, for the love of God, catch the fucker. Anyway, so then the peculiar ritual kind of begins. Somewhere between the second and third glass of wine, we fall asleep on each other at different paces. And then there's the phenomenon of the wine zombie. So we don't really know what happens.
This is entering that zone between
awake and asleep, drunk and sober. Yeah.
You really don't remember what the holy hell happened.
So we come downstairs the next day, right? Usually I'm down first. Wine spilled all over the place. Wine spilled like under entertainment centers. I don't know how we do it. Are we like throwing the wine around?
We've recently learned that if you spill wine all over your Fire Stick remote, it resets everything and you have to put wine back into it.
Huge pain in the ass. Yeah, everything had to be redone. Yeah. Sitting it in a pool of wine is not a good thing. Yeah. So there'll be strange like pink robes that are stasis that they've migrated downstairs to the area where we were sitting.
I don't know why.
Don't know why. Who was wearing the pink robe? Every snack product is just mowed down, gone. Like there's not a chip to be found anywhere, not a stick of cheese, anything basically snack food gone. So obviously people are breaking in and eating our food. Yoga mats in strange places, vacuum cleaners taken apart, dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. So
sometimes dogs baptized in IPA.
Why does the cat have wine on it? Yeah. So we decided, I was so curious about what happens between us after that first falling asleep. It is like The Walking Dead. It really is. We decided to plant some hidden cameras around the house around 9 p.m. on a Friday night.
How about 11?
Well, I just let them run.
Oh.
So here's some of the footage that was picked up from zombie wine monsters. So I think some of the mystery's been solved by the video.
Yeah, skateboarding was one of the 4 new sports added to the Olympics for 2020. And it's also been approved for 2024 Summer Olympic Games. And this is something that my son used to get thrown out of garages and parking lots for doing. Plus it must be the only sign in a 7-Eleven parking lot.
No skateboarding.
There's no skateboarding and no loitering.
It's like the most discriminated against sport of all, and now it's in the Olympics.
Right. Yeah. And, most places will forbid you from doing it. I say to 7-Eleven, where are the no badminton signs if you're going to start calling out sports?
And there's a lot of controversy that they've started to put out AI-generated music on YouTube. Like there's an AI-generated Metallica song. And I mean, again, I think the technology is way advanced beyond that, but it's pretty close. We were talking about it, and a lot of the musicians are concerned about it, graphic artists are concerned about it, but I think one area that's safe is comedy. You agree?
Yeah, whenever we ask Google to make us laugh. Okay, Google, make us laugh.
Here's a joke for Valentine's Day. How did the fire fall in love? It found its perfect match.
Do the rim shot.
Okay, so I'm giving it a little bit of thought. And if we end up switching to AI for our comedy, here's what it's going to be like.
Oh my God.
Hey, it's great to be here tonight. Thanks, everyone. Hey, I had a woman reach out to me because her PC was running slow. I told her to empty out her cache, and she said, "Can I just use a credit card instead?" I was explaining to another infidel human what a terabyte is. He said, "If terabytes, couldn't you put a muzzle on her?" Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Malware.
Malware who?
Mal, wear a jacket. It's cold outside. I was trying to find out if the user's desired font had serifs. The guy said, "I don't think we have one, but I'm friends with the county executive. Will that work?"
We all had a crush on Susie Goldberg, and she still looks great. But Joe took it a little too far. That's a very embarrassing thing. You have to Google that. If he won't let it go. Anyway.
This one is credited to the incomparable Paris Hilton.
The ironing board chested Paris Hilton, yes.
She said, No, I didn't go to England. I went to London.
All right, drum roll, please. The winner of the dumbest quote from any celebrity since the dawn of time goes to Mariah Carey, who said in 1996, "Whenever I watch TV and see those poor starving kids all over the world, I can't help but cry. I mean, I'd love to be skinny like that, but not with all those flies and death and stuff."
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend the flies and deaths and stuff diet, Mariah.
All I want for Christmas is no flies and death and stuff.
God.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.